Welcome back to my episode of Vlog. This one is going to be going on my YouTube channel. Yes, I did say YouTube channel. Yes, I did grow up hair and actually decide to, get more public, show myself, so to speak. I'm not going to be, face first, when it first starts off. But when it begins to pick up, then I'll, start showing my face. For those that know me, know what I look like, so that shouldn't be a shocker. Like, who? She's anonymous. No, I'm not anonymous. I just don't like being on the camera. I'm not like a sociable type person. I'm trying to actually get outside of my comfort zone. Hence why I'm posting this on YouTube now. It's actually to gain more attraction to this podcast. Just showing my opinion, so to speak, because everybody has their opinion and interpretation or whatever they want to call it. But I just want to get mine out there sometime and, just talk about some things. So I'm going to try to do the recording without a lot of cussing because my bad habit is a lot of cursing. And I know that about myself, so it's something I'm actually working on right now. I actually told somebody that's near and dear to me that I'm going to actually work on stop cussing. And in return for me to stop cussing, I wanted to make sure I was on point. I will just say it like that. So, what I wanted to speak on, and I'm not one of the ones that actually have a notebook with main points and subsections and everything down on what I want to talk about, because that's not how I roll. AKA, I can't study that way, meaning if I sit here and study for a test, I will fail the test. If I sit here and write notes and notes and notes and notes, I'm not going to retain it that way. I have to actually see it, or I actually have to do it from the top of my head off of knowledge that I already accumulated. That's the type of individual I am. And the craziest thing is, everybody now has some kind of mental, capacity or incapacity. I'm going to just say that. Autism, ADHD, OCD, manic depression, dissociation, whatever you want to call it. It has so many layers to it, and it could come from numerous of things. And I tell everybody, I believe I've been undiagnosed for years. And the reason why I say that is because the way I function is interesting. Have you ever seen a person with autism and you wonder how their brain works? Like their focus could be on something so minimal, but they break it down to like the nano degree. That's how I work. And I thrive more with numbers and economics. Now, when it comes to science and language arts, I can't stand it to save my life. But I might say I like reading. And the only reason why I like reading was because I had a literature teacher that instilled what it meant to read and the love for literature. Because he was like, some of the most important things that you're going to have to do in life is going to involve reading. And even though you hate reading, it might be life or death. That's how he put it to us. And that's why I actually started liking reading. And my go-to was Edgar Allan Poe. Now, he was a genius in the right, but he was also around that time because mental health wasn't never talked about back in the day like that. He was an undiagnosed schizophrenic with paranoia and I believe some kind of ADD, something like that. But when I tell you he was a genius in his right, it seeped through his writings, and you could tell. But as far as his personal life, baby, I wouldn't remember that if my life depended on it. I'm not going to even lie to you. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about what I want to talk about today. I wanted to touch on sins, accountability, reflection, and dealing with the agreements. Okay, so whoever never, you hear that sound? Yeah, my words ain't worded. But anyway, so it's a series of books. If you took a time to read, I think his name is Russ, I believe. If I didn't get the name right, I will link the name in the description. I will link his books. He's a great writer. So, you see how my mind went? But anyway, so we were talking about these agreements. And I got to the book where it went to this fifth agreement. Now, I read the 4 agreements. I read that through and through. And I was like, okay, Philosophy on Life. It's a great book. It's a great read. But when I read the 5th one, I said, I was already doing this. And I was laughing because I'm a skeptic. So the 5th agreement is be skeptic, but also listen. Why is it a good thing? Because half of what you see and half of what you hear is not always true. Because you can always be deceived with the eyes, or you can be deceived with the ears, or whatever senses you can put. You can be deceived. It just depends on what you're looking at, who you're looking at, and at the time that you're looking at. I'm going to just say it like that. And a lot of people won't catch on because you're like, well, why would my eyes lie to me? How can my eyes lie to me? You will be surprised what a little magic could do. A little razzle dazzle is what everybody call it. But nobody believes in magic until you literally start believing in magic. And then there's no going back. And I'm not just talking about witches and ghouls and ghosts and zombies and aliens and all that mythical stuff. Nah, I'm talking about gods and angels and demons, or however you want to label them. I'm talking about that too. It might sound crazy and one-off to another person, but if you get the right person on the right day, they're going to look at you like, how you know about that? Like, who you been talking to? Like, are you a conspiracy theorist? Nah, you just a person that's a believer. You just a skeptic. Because all this stuff going on out here, ain't no way a human person can actually attempt this. Some of it. I'm going to say some of it, not all, but some of it. No mere human can do it. And I must just say that. So, be skeptic, but be able to listen. And listening is an important key, especially in life. You don't listen just to respond. You actually listen in terms of how a person's tone is, what their body language is saying. Also, you also try to grasp what concept they're trying to convey. You also, with this communication, this back and forth communication, you just want to be, I would say, in this place of knowing. You have wisdom behind it. Because I could talk to you all day. But if I'm, if you're just hearing me, you probably lack the decency or whatever degree to even formulate an answer for me. And I'll probably just sit there looking at you super like, did you hear anything I said? Nah, I just toned out. That's most people's answer. But we don't want you to be like that. We want you to listen actively to a person and understand what the person is trying to convey to you. And then when you respond, you don't sound dumb as hell, or you don't sound lost, or you don't sound like a robot. That's what I'll be trying to get. Let's talk about these sins and reflection and accountability. A sin is an immoral act against God. That's in the Christian world. In the spiritual world, karma. Duality. This law of what you put in this world, you get back. And do you really pay for a person's sins they committed years and years ago? That's the question. Do you really pay for it? And why would you be paying for someone else's sins and it's not tied to you? You get on the generational curses when you say, I'm paying for somebody else's sins. Like, why are you repeating the same cycles? Like, why are you conditioning yourself to actually pay for their sins? Like, is it your duty to actually pick up their sins and bear them? Or is that something that you contracted, before you, came here and said, hey, I'm going to pick up this person's sin, or I'm going to pick up my mama's sin. Is that something you signed in the contract to do? Like, that's something, I was always wondering, like, why do you have to go through so many generations to somebody finally decide that they're not going to take the bullshit that everybody else deal with? Or who decided the strongest soldier was going to be this generation or born at this time? Like, who actually gave the memo, like, hey, pass this down. This is going to be the strongest soldier right here. Or, when they sing the other one, like, nah, they too weak. That's not the soldier right there. It's going to be the next one. When she give birth to the next one, then that one's going to be. Or wait, when she gives birth to, that one's going to be. Like, who actually made the decision? Like, when I sit up here and I look at my family's curses or whatever you want to call it, I say, hell no, that's stopping at me, baby, because my child ain't going to go through trying to be like, I'm going to break. We're going to nip that in the bud. We stopped it at me. Because how dare you? Because that's exactly how I feel. How dare you, with the audacity, with your whole chest, think I'm going to repeat a cycle or play out something that should have been done years and years ago. That should have been nipped in the butt decades, centuries, millennials ago. Why are we still doing this? But see, the craziest part is when you sit there and you evaluate your whole family, the person they want to be the generational curse breaker is never the one that's the generational curse breaker. The person that they so flock to worship or whatever the case may be, that's not the person. And I was sitting there like, have you noticed the person that they hate the most, that they treat the worst? The ones that, get the bottom of the barrel is the main one that has to go and be the strong soldier for the lineage and break shit so it doesn't fall on the ones that's after them. It's sad. It's really sad. And a lot of people, and I see it a lot on the internet, they be like, yeah, I went through A, B, and C, and, I feel like I'm chosen, and I feel like I'm this, and I feel like I'm that, and this is what I've been going through. I'm like, you're going to have to run this back, because you have to sit with yourself and do some reflecting. Are you really the one that's chosen, or are you picking up a task of a chosen person? And then to find out at the end that you're not that chosen person, you just put shit on you that you had no business putting on you. It was a mark that you shouldn't have put on yourself. That's what some people got to reflect on. You can't sit up there and take on responsibilities that ain't even your responsibility in the first place. It's okay to want to be called But a lot of people not there to be called to do certain shit. Your gift might not be hearing, seeing, or whatever the case may be in the spiritual plane. Your gift might be to guide the person that's doing it. Or he go the crazy part. Your gift, or what you were designed to do, is to be that person's test to get them where they need to be. So it could go both ways. You could either be that blessing for them to get them there, or you could be that one that's supposed to test them to get them to there. But you're not always the one that's chosen. And you need to learn the difference. Stop putting more on yourself than what you should have, and start enjoying life and all there is. Because half y'all walking around here don't even know your purpose. You basing your purpose off somebody that you see on the internet and what they tell you and how they tell you you should live your life or what you should do on your spiritual journey. And that's the craziest shit I ever seen, because that's the thing. It's your spiritual journey. It's not theirs. They could tell you what worked for them, but it's customized to them. That's why you're supposed to customize it to yourself, because it's your spiritual journey, not theirs. One size don't fit all. And when you sit down and reflect, it's a lot of stuff that you put in perspective. Like, let me ask you a question. How many times you jump online and you hear a message that just resonates with you so well? And you're like, dang, they just talking to me. And thank you for that message. And I know this is what I'm going to do. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, boom. Okay, you heard the word. Okay, cool. Okay, so what did you do with the word when you heard it? Did you just listen to it and it falls at deaf ear? Or did you do something about it at that time? But here's the thing. Spirit wraps that thing around. Like, let me run that back to them one more time to see that they hear. You hear that message again, give or take 6 months down the line. Oh, dang, yeah. This is what I'm going through at the time. I need to hear that, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, thank you for that message, and this is what I'm going to do. Spirit going to be like, okay, so I gave you this message 6 months ago. What the hell did you do with it? Because let me tell you something. I know Spirit be sick of me sometimes. I ain't going to even lie to you. Because some things I sit on, and I can admit, a lot of people like that. They sit on it. But how many times are you going to hear a message until you react to it or you act on it? Like, why you had to listen to so many recycled messages before you get that light bulb to turn on that you need to do something? Because by then, sometimes it'd be too late. Because what you won't do, Spirit's going to go to the next person that's willing to do it. Let me give you another example. Have you ever had a good idea that you know could make you some money, that you know that would have been worth the investment, but you was too damn scared to make it? But then you look around probably about 5 to 6 months later, and you see another person with that same idea that you came up with making money off of it. How you think that happened? Do you think you're the only one that got that frequency to the universe? Like, do you really think that? You're not. Because what you won't do with what gifts you're supposed to have, another person is going to step up and do with the gifts that they have. Because they really about that life. And some of y'all are not really about that life. Y'all really not. It's not the scared of failing that a lot of people are scared of. It's scared of success, and then what? That's what a lot of people are scared of. When I succeed, then what? Because I've never been successful, how am I going to act? What am I going to do next? How am I going to keep that momentum going? What do I need to do? And then a lot of y'all want to take people with y'all because y'all don't know how to be by self. Y'all hate being by y'allself. It's like y'all allergic to being by y'all fucking self. I never seen it so much in my life. It's like, I mean, I know I want somebody in A, B, and C. I'm supposed to be did. Like, really? Like, baby, learn how to be by yourself first. Take the journey by yourself before you take somebody with you. Because everybody is not meant to go with you in the first place. Like, I understand the need for companionship, the need for other people to be around you, you know, to have that tight-knit team, you know, somebody to fall back on. And I'm not just talking about platonic relationships as far as, you know, men and women. I'm talking about, you know, female friends or male friends or whatever the case may be. Y'all so fucking scared to be by yourself because you scared spirit will whoop your ass when you alone. And he will. Spirit will whoop your ass if you're not doing right. I'm just going to be there to tell you that. Take it for somebody that self-reflects a lot. And if you can't sit with yourself and be alone and get to the point where you know you secure with being by yourself, then trying to attempt anything is not really necessary. And I mean, as far as growing, because the walk on this spiritual journey, even if you're a Christian, I'm going to tell you like that walk that you have to do for yourself, it's going to be lonely sometimes because you're not always meant to be with nobody, because you're always supposed to get by yourself so you could get with spirit or get with God to get what you need. And then they bring the people in your life. It's never the opposite. I'm sorry, my son done turned down this music listening to me because he just like, who is she talking to? But I'm telling you, I sit here. I could give you an example. I called my life before. Like one time, I was talking, and I was like, I went through 7 years of hell, and this is at the time I didn't do no reflection. I didn't want to know what caused. I really didn't care because at the time, you know, I was so stuck on me. Why is this happening to me? Who did this to me? Blah, blah, blah. The world is against me, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. Half of the stuff that I went through, it was self-inflicted. And the other half is allowing people to F up anything that I had going on at the time. And I lost some good people, because I'm not saying everybody was bad. I lost some good people behind a family that's technically my AK ops, AK enemies, because your family could be your worst enemy. And what I mean, your worst enemy, I mean they can try to kill you. And it's not just emotionally and mentally. I mean, literally try to poison you to take you out. Your family can be there to be basically your biggest haters. Because why you should be doing better than them anyway? Like, who are you to do better than them? Who the fuck do you supposed to be? And another thing, people know who you are before you know who you are. So why not stop what's supposed to happen? Especially if I'm an enemy, especially if I don't need to see you where you need to be. Because if you go where you need to be, you're going to see a lot of that fuck shit I did, and you're not going to want to be around me no more. And I learned that I had people in my face before I even became a teenager just telling me about this light, telling me about who I am, just just coming up to me, just sitting next to me and just started talking. And I'm just looking at them like, why are these people talking to me? Like I don't understand. Like when I say I never understood, I could get somebody to tell me their whole life story in a matter of 2 minutes, just talking to me. And I'm just looking at them like, who the hell do they think I am? Like, why do they keep talking to me? What is wrong with these people? And then as I grew, I'm just like, okay, so while they talking to me, what am I supposed to be doing? And I was like, I need to be doing something because I feel like I need to do something. And I'm like, okay, eventually it's going to come to me because I was one of them slow kids. I ain't going to lie to you. Like I told y'all, I think I was undiagnosed. Don't laugh too hard. But it made me realize that, probably 2 months ago, I went to take a picture for my PIP, aka my badge. And the woman, she ain't had no flash or nothing on the camera. And she was like, hey, come here. She was calling the girl. She's like, and I took this picture like 3 or 4 times. It's this light. It won't move off her. And the girl, she was like, girl, we light-skinned, and she bust out laughing. And I'm looking at her like, babe, I'm not light-skinned, babe, I'm brown, and I bust out laughing. And she was like, well, she's like, they probably not going to use picture anyway. I said, it's my badge, lady. I said, so I got a big old bright light on me. Like, when I tell you it looks like a whole flash on me, it looks like a whole flash. So what that tell you? Baby, I'm gifted. Y'all just don't know it. Anyway, but for real, people are going to see and know who you are before you know who you are. But why are you missing the calling? That's what I never got and I never understood. A lot of people miss the call being ignorant, or not so much being ignorant, just want to operate an ego 90% of the time, and 10% of the time want to pray after shit hit the ceiling. Like, why? Like, be grateful before shit hits the ceiling. And by the time, it looks like stuff about to, come up against you, you already have the gratefulness out the way. You already had the prayer and the praise out the way. So you'll know how to navigate through that, whatever situation be. Because sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's not too hard. Sometimes you go through this rough patch because it's like a test. Like, I want to see how she going to react if I put this little stumbling block on her. Let's see how she do. And if you're not grateful or not prayerful or, praise, however you do it, if you're not doing something that's going to keep you grounded, of course, it's going to knock you off your game. And they're going to be like, damn, she ain't learned. Didn't we do this before? She ain't learned it. Man, come on. She's supposed to do how to do this. That goes back to that reflection and that accountability, because you got to take accountability to some of the stuff that you do that prevents you from going to the next level or doing what you need to do to get where you need to go. Half of the people right now sitting down listening to thousands and thousands of self-help books in a year and still haven't applied none of that shit to their life. Now, I hate how it sounded. I know. That's why I laughed afterward. Because how you listen to so many self-help books but ain't help yourself yet? How you help so many other people but don't help yourself? Ain't you tired of helping people and not helping yourself? Baby, I would cry. I ain't gonna even lie to you. As a matter of fact, we're gonna take another step forward. You say so many affirmations with all that oomph in your chest, and you still don't believe none of the shit that's coming out your mouth. So hypocritical. And yeah, I said it. Hypocritical. Because you just talking. You just feeling it with hot air. So it's just hot air leaving out your mouth. You don't believe nothing that you're saying because you don't see it. How y'all when y'all was kids? That's my next question. Because when you was kids, you supposed to have an imagination, right? See, when we were kids, young and free, we supposed to have this imagination that ran wild. We could have been the president of Mars or whatever the hell we wanted to be at the time. But see, when you got older, you were supposed to bring some of that in your grown-up years. I know we got a lot of woes, but again, we supposed to have this imagination. That's what keeps you grounded. That forethought to see greatness. Because if you can't see where you're going, if you don't got that vision in mind, you ain't gonna try to get there. So how many people have a vision in mind that they want to get to? And what steps have you done to take you there? That's my question. And I know I said I was going to try to do this first, video without cussing. But when it comes to help and self-help and mental health, I am so serious about that. I've seen so many people lose their life on account of dumb stuff. And when I mean dumb stuff, I've seen people lose their life because of bullies. I've seen people lose their life because they felt like nobody loved them. I've seen people lose their life because envy. I've seen people lose their life because of jealousy and hate. I've seen people lose their life, getting killed over stupid stuff. When I say I just seen so much death at one time, I'm just like, ain't death tired? Like, we keep death in rotation over here in these parts. It makes no sense because that's how much death I've seen. And then I'm just like, wow. When you feel like you are alone in the world, ain't no telling where your mind can wander. And I know it's not the same for every person because some people, they're not scared to be alone. I'm one of them people. But if you were around people all your life and you always felt lonely and you felt like you ain't had nobody in your corner, it could play out a whole different way. I knew somebody that said, I felt like nobody loved me. And they did now. And it's still sad. I know somebody to this day got killed. It was about money. Their own relatives. Oh, that's a true story. And you know that. So let me speak to the, my people of color, my black family. Those ones that, have so much colorism and hate in their heart and generations of BS. Let me speak to y'all for a minute. Cause it's the same sad story and it plays out many different ways. Why do we hate ourselves so much? Y'all can't keep bringing the Caucasus or, YT people for the hate that you have. Because at some point, you have to be responsible for unlearning shit. Why do you hate your color so much? You just see yourself in such a negative way to it don't make no sense for another person on the outside to try to give you that love that you always say you want and you deserve and you can't give to yourself. Why would you add a person to that? It's crazy. People of color, my family, when you go down your lines of generations and generations of hate and division, why can't the family actually get along? We all know how the black household be most of the time. And I say most of the time because it don't apply to everybody. We're talking about the drunken uncle, the abusive father. We don't know how many lineage of abusive fathers there was, but it was some, and it was many. We talking about the auntie that couldn't keep a man, or the auntie that bought so many men around that you couldn't count. We talking about the cousins that was always in the game that didn't want to stay out of jail or in trouble. You know, the ones that loved to steal, you know, the crazy cousin and auntie or however the hell you want to make it out. You know, those. I've seen that scenario so many times, and it played out in my family too. It's sad that everybody has the same story in the black background in the Americas. I can't speak on Africa because I know nothing about Africa. So if anybody know about Africa, you know, y'all let me know down in them comments. I'm not going to speak for them because I wasn't born in Africa. As a matter of fact, I'm yet discovering who I am. My background is African and Caribbean and Guyana and all that, but still, I wasn't born there. I was born over here, so I can only speak for what I seen over here. Again, back to it. Why do the people of color over here has the background of incest, molestation, abuse of drugs, alcohol, domestic violence, mental abuse, and emotional abuse? And this is all in the family. It never goes from an outsider. It's always the inside family. Why? Why instill so much trauma on the family? It's got to stop sometime. I could write a book about it, and it's sad. And like I said, it's a thing in our community, and it's so bad. It's just killing it out. Just like the self-hate and the colorism. And y'all can't say colorism don't exist because it do, especially within the family. I could tell you right now, the light-skinned people in my family got more opportunities than the dark-skinned ones in our family. As a matter of fact, the light-skinned ones got paraded around everywhere they went versus the dark-skinned ones had to stay inside and clean like they were slaves. You hear how my tone changed? Because I'm being dead serious. I don't have to lie about nothing of my upbringing. I could do a book, I could do a polygraph, I could do whatever you want me to do. Here's the crazy part. The only thing my family would tell y'all is I'm crazy. I'm a liar. I always start stuff and all this stuff. But I'm going to do you one better. They said the same shit about my mama. Ain't that crazy? Always a peacemaker, always crazy, always this and always that. But one thing you couldn't say about her, she was one of the ones that if you called, she was always helping. And that's another fault of ours. We always do and do and do for people that don't need shit from us. And what I mean, don't need shit from us, I mean don't need nothing from us because of the way they treat us. You know how people say treat people like you want to be treated? That's nice in theory. You always try to be that guiding light, that good in people's life. But when people give you their ass kicked over and over again, you don't go back to it. Y'all need to get over that shit too. Y'all use that turning the other cheek shit so much till it pisses me off. And it did. It really did. And let me tell you, I grew up in a household that was Christian. So I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. I grew up in a Christian household. We went to church every day to the point that I got tired of going to church every day. We read the Bible so much to the point where the Bible was instilled in my head in probably about 3 different languages. And still play audio Bible to this night. Anybody quote the Bible wrong, I would know it. That's how much I heard it. You talking about you should turn the other cheek when somebody done you wrong? For what? I'm the type like this now. Because I got growner and I got wiser. I'm not going to let you slide like Crisco, baby. Because, see, you going to keep doing it and you going to do it. You're not going to learn. Now, when I backhand your ass, then you going to learn. It's hard to say it like that, but I'm being honest. See, people don't learn from their mistakes if you just keep letting them get over you. It's called people pleasing. They just going to be like, oh, I could run over this person. Person ain't going to do nothing. Like, what the hell makes you think that? I was trying to do the Christian thing because that was instilled in me. But see, God said don't be no fool either. Because what you look like being a fool. Because if a person show you who they is once and you let them get away with it, that's on you. But if you allow them to do it again without any consequences, that's not good. And I'm going to just say it like that. That's not good. Sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable. I'm actually going to be recording. But yeah, this is my first YouTube. My podcast is on Spotify and Apple Music right now. And it's just many different ideas and thoughts and stuff. And a little bit about my family history wrapped up in there too. And a little bit about taxes because that's what I do for a living. But when you hear more of me, of my podcast on YouTube, it's going to be surrounding my opinions on the stuff that I see. So, of course, you could chime in and let me know what you want to hear. Or chime in and let me hear your thoughts. Because I'm always going to be grateful for anybody's thoughts. And what they want to hear or what they want to discuss. Or, some topics, they want to get on. Because I would never mind bringing anybody else on the podcast either. I wanted to do a question and answer thing, with some of the knowledge that I did have. Because I know a lot. Sound like a kid. But I do know a lot. And what I don't know, I can always find out for you. And you can always teach somebody something. That's that iron sharpening iron if you didn't know it. Biblical reference. But for real, seriously. Now going back to just reflection, accountability, and being a skeptic and listening. Those are the things that you should navigate through life a lot. When you navigating through this life, of course you have to take accountability for your actions and how some of your life played out. Because some of the things that happen in life, of course, you couldn't control. But what you can control and what you can change is how you react, what you do going forward, how you're learning from it, and what you can teach, what wisdom that you can give back to the world. Those are some things that you can control. So why not start controlling them? And I know that you're just listening to my podcast, and I know some of this be like, yes, makes sense. But let me tell you something. These words, just because they sound different, don't mean you never heard it before. I can guarantee you heard this before. And I could guarantee you haven't applied it. And I could guarantee that this is your message again coming from Spirit before they go to the next person. And go ahead and just give your gifts to somebody that really want to use them. Because you don't want to use them. You want to be lazy. And you don't want the consequences to using your gift. I'm going to tell you like this. If you want to so-called be chosen or be called, just know the walk is not going to be easy. And that calling that you want to hear so bad, so bad. You got to be on speed dial and you got to be ready at any time. Because when somebody say, you better get ready. If you ain't, they not lying. They really not lying. Always be ready so you ain't got to get ready. I'm talking about be ready for anything. Because anything can pop off at any time. And I mean in the natural too. In the spiritual and natural, you got to be vigilant. Always stay vigilant. And be a skeptic. And start learning how to be alone. Some of y'all just aggy as hell needing to be around people 24/7 or needing people around you 24/7. And that's not even the case. You don't need that many people around you all the time. You need to be by yourself most of the time. Yep, but that is all for me today. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to my flawed podcast and subscribing to my Sheer Flaws and, following me on my social media. Even though I don't like being on there all the time because I'm not sociable. I'm antisocial on the social media. But I want to thank you just for listening, for taking the time out your day to hear what I got to say. And I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Your thoughts, your opinions, your questions, all of that. I want to thank you so much again. And you'll see me on the next podcast of Flawed, of course. See you later.